morning, Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we? Yes, my darlings, I went and got a little haircut. I went to Coco's and he is fabulous. Coco at Coco's. I went to him today and he gave me this fabulous haircut of which I am living and I am loving. It kind of just takes me back to my model days because my hair was this short and I was like, I don't know if I can do it, but here we are, my darlings. I'm just turning around so you can see and I'm kind of loving it. You let me know in the comment section what you think. Are we living and loving the makeup? Well, you guys have what? You have a makeup tutorial and I used the new palette from Kim Kardashian, her new palette from Skin. So you're gonna have a makeup tutorial coming up tomorrow. All right, why are we here? Well, we had the beautiful Monique. She took my advice. Yeah, because I had mentioned it in the last episode that Monique, you know what? Club Shay Shay is fire right now. Why don't you just go up there and air out all of your grievances? Well, she went over to Club Shay Shay and she aired out everything when I tell you. Let me first say that it's amazing. All of these wonderful comedians that made us laugh our heads off. It is very apparent that there was nothing funny behind the scenes of these comedians, of the comedian community. There was nothing to laugh at and there was nothing funny at all. It's a business. Straight up, jokes are being stolen, contracts are not being finalized, they're not being seen to, all kinds of shenanigans. And it's in every industry. Every single industry, there are things that go on behind the scenes that we just don't have any clue about. And you just have to give people grace because they're going through things and there's no support and they're spread thin and they're trying to hold everything together. So it's unfortunate because I thought all of these comedians would be laughing together, they would be hanging out, you know, they'll be sharing jokes, that this, of all the places, of all the industries, that the comedy community would be the most fun place to be. How wrong I was. I have to applaud Club Shay Shay and Shannon Sharp. It is becoming very apparent that the way we used to watch celebrities coming on air is very different. We had Oprah, we had Barbara Walters, we had Larry King. Now it's podcasts. And the king of podcasts for now, churning it right out from January with Cat Williams is Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp is the guy to go to. He deserves that award. Are we coming out with podcasts? Yes, we are. 100%. I've got one or two celebrities that are going to kick it off into high gear and then we're off in the running because this is the way to do it. Unedited, unscripted, nothing cut short. You can sit down here for the 2.5 hour segment if you got that kind of time. And so we had Monique out here and she said a whole bunch of things. So as we know, she has talked about Oprah many a time and she has also talked about Tyler Perry.
When Oprah Winfrey called me up and she said, I got a call from your brother and he wants to apologize to you, I said, I don't want anything to do with that cat. And then she said, well, if you want me to scratch the show, I will scratch it. I said, sis, don't scratch it because he could be a different person. I was like, I appreciate that, sister. Like, she didn't have to call me. I start seeing commercials with my mother. We never talked about my mother being there.
She never told you that.
And that woman didn't tell you that they were going to be there. How would you feel?
Betrayed.
That is exactly how I felt and how I feel.
LADYZ had the gall to talk about her husband and Monique gave it to her straight up. Listen to the clip. I concur. As you very well know, I do not care for Tiffany Haddish at all for a very, very, very obvious reason. And she is not in any position. She's not in any position whatsoever to talk about anybody's husband. And Monique was absolutely right. Here you are running around with DUIs all over the place. You're not in a position to talk. You are absolutely not. You are not in her league whatsoever. So you don't have any right whatsoever to talk about her or talk about her husband, as far as I'm concerned. But let's push that aside. Let's push all of that aside. What did she say about you? What did she this about you? She didn't say anything about you, Tiffany. As far as I'm concerned, personally with Monique, I'm happy that she went to Club Shay, and I wish that she had just done that in the beginning, because I felt that it was coming off as if she was constantly complaining. This was the right avenue to go sit down and air every single thing out. Dear Hughley came right out and called Monique a liar. Straight up, he said, anywhere, let's meet. And he was hot about that.
Well, Club Shay is getting messier and messier. It's almost like Wendy Williams didn't go anywhere. She just got a weight set. So Monique was on. Every time I see Monique these days, she's on doing some greasy video with her and her daddy complaining about something or working out. I don't know nobody that work out that much and gain weight unless every crunch you do has got Captain in front of it. But apparently she goes on Club Shay and tells the story about how she came on my radio show and I wasn't there at the time. And my co-host Jasmine Sanders played a game that we played all the time with everybody called Would You Rather. She apparently was so offended by that she says she got off. She called me. Monique did, and she said I was very dismissive, like, Monique's a liar. When Monique did call me, I heard her complaints. I listened to her and I pulled the segment. So if I had been as dismissive as she alleges I was, that segment would have aired. It didn't, because I respected her wishes. It's also befuddles the shit out of me how somebody who, as a comedian, talks as much shit about everybody else as she does, she has the temerity to be offended about anything as much shit as you say about people. Then she encouraged everybody, allegedly it stems from the fact that I used to always talk about her on video after video, and she encouraged her sweet babies to look at the video and find them. Do that. Do exactly what she says. And you know what you're not going to find? You're not going to find any evidence of that, because Monique is a liar. She's lying about that. But what you will find is Monique talking about some alleged contract dispute we had. Look at the ticket. It says D.L. Hughley, then Monique. She knows the story. But what she did in response to that, she talked about my dog, my wife. This broad even brought out my daughter's personal trauma. My daughter was molested, and Monique brought that shit out and told the world that I allowed my daughter in front of me. The lying mother. She knows she was lying. And it only stopped when everybody from my family checked her. It's interesting. You know what else you won't see Monique doing? You won't ever see her with her family, videos with her children or grandchildren, because nobody with me. How do you have sweet babies when your own babies don't with you? How do you love us for real when there's no evidence of anybody loving you for real except your daddy, who you apparently have to pay? And FYI, daughters are paid for by daddies, not daddies who get paid by their daughters. You know what else you won't see Monique doing? Telling jokes. Monique, if she'd have spent as much time actually writing jokes and writing her Netflix special as she did complaining about not having one, it wouldn't have been trash. It got the worst reviews of any Netflix special in history, because that's what Monique does. She complains and she has grievances. You never see her being a human being. You never see her being sweet and warm to people, except when she's using it to butter somebody up to get something. There's a reason why everywhere she goes, it starts. Everywhere she goes. How is it that nobody f***s with you, not even your family? How do you, I was on the road getting it. I get it every goddamn week. Look at my schedule versus yours. See how much I'm going. And I still manage to have a relationship that I cherish with my children. Can you say the same? You can't. Because all you do is talk about your grievances and who did you wrong. There's a reason you're by yourself. There's a reason you got to pay a man to love you. It's sad. There's an old adage that says you can't buy love. It's a shame, Monique, that you probably always will have to.
And there was an issue about his daughter, of which I never knew about. And you could see that he was deeply hurt by that. Do I think that Monique is telling lies? No. Do I think that DL Hughley was telling lies? No. What I think is that there's been a disconnect and an overlap. And somewhere things got out of hand. And that's when all of the other stuff began to come in. Because these guys are passionate and nobody is backing down. I will say that when it comes to children, it's a no-go zone. It's a no-go area. Keep the kids out of it. I don't care. You can talk about me all day if you want. But don't bring my children. Don't bring my family. Because then it becomes a different kind of fight. And things really escalate real quick. Because I have not seen DL Hughley this upset. I never have. Not at all. He's usually a calm kind of guy. And I don't think he's even mad about the contract, this, that, and the other. But once you brought his daughter into the mix, it was a whole other shebang. And that was where I said, I don't know about this.
Our brother, DL Hughley. And we are firm believers on what is right and what is wrong. Yes. So we got to start off by saying there was an inaccuracy as it regards Monique saying that there was a cease and desist that was given to DL to shut it down. What had taken place, to be accurate, was after Monique spoke to Brother DL on that conversation, Brother DL said, what?
Well, after we spoke on that conversation, when we hung up that phone, the last thing he said was, it is what it is. And I said, DL, then we're going to have to get our attorney involved. That's the last thing me and DL Hughley said on that conversation.
And after having that conversation with Monique, we went and got our brother, DL Hughley, attorney involved, Attorney Anderson. At the time, there were some emails that were transferred back and forth between his side and our side, and it escalated to a point when we had our attorney on the email, whereby then finally DL said that he would scratch the interview.
Yes.
So it was inaccurate that a cease and desist had to be given. However, that was the next step, and that's what Monique remembered, because when I discussed it with her, we said that would be the next step. But to DL's credit, at that moment, when it had escalated, that's when he decided to shut it down. However, that is a bit different from how it seemed to have been communicated, whereby on the phone, they were having a conversation and it was kumbaya. Though he never used those words, kumbaya, it did not end with her being under the impression that this was going to be resolved and shut down. So we wanted to make that clear out of love and respect for Brother DL. And despite all the commentary that he gave, with all the crunches she be doing, the captain's in the front.
I do.
And
I do.
Tell her.
I'm a sneak snacker, baby.
And she doesn't sneak when she snacks.
Okay. Hey.
But nonetheless, we wanted to be clear, because at the end of the day, we black folks in this world of entertainment. And there was a level of harshness in his return that seemed a little bit exaggerated for the moment.
You know, when I watched DL say, she went after my wife, she went after my daughters, I want to really be clear who I went after so that there's no confusion here. When I was on stage, when I'm on stage and we are performers, we are performing to the audience in front of us. When I was on that stage and I said it must be hard to perform orcs,
but differently,
okay, on a coward, that had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughley. That insult was directed straight to you, DL. That had nothing to do with your wife. That was straight to you. So it felt like you were trying to pass it off as if I was going after your wife. When it comes to your daughter, to the baby that you did a post about, you did an interview about, I didn't do that interview. I simply repost what you said. So when you say, Monique, you went after my daughter, that's untrue, DL. I posted what you said. And then when you said when you were really going for it with your shades on, and you said, Monique said, I stood by and watched my daughter be. D.L. Hughley, that's your conscience talking to you, brother. I never said that. I never said that. And I want to be a little clear about something else. Never would I try to do anything to harm any of your babies, because we got babies too. So never would I try to do anything to harm your children. However, what I was saying to your daughter and to the other daughters out there, I know what it's like for your daddy to know you've been touched and he not protect you, because my daddy did the same thing. That's what that whole point was. But I was showing why I would call you a coward, brother. I don't think it's brave that you didn't protect your baby. So when I said what I was saying, let me be clear to you, D.L. Hughley, it had nothing to do in reference to your family, and you know that. Now, when you were speaking and you were going off and you said, what did you say? She was so offended by the game we play, but you didn't say what the offense was. And that's the part for me that is disheartening, that you continue to try to trick and smoke and mirror our people. If you're going to say it all the way through. When you say family is sacred, you are absolutely right, baby. You're right. But when you say would my husband rather, and you co-sign your team of people doing that, well, isn't my husband sacred? That whole point was,
if we come together, we're going to win just by default. So at the end of the day, when you get to talking about how Monique is not loved and this, that, and the other, that's your perception. But what I'll say is it is due to the love that we have that we're able to love those that say things that could be construed as hurtful, but we understand that the old saying of hurt people. So we don't take what you say personally, brother. And again, it's nothing but love. In addition to the fact, I'm Q-Sci-Fi. Just like you, except I've been in about 29 going on 30 years. I'm not going to argue with you, frat. Ain't nothing but love. So we wanted to extend that to you and let you know what it is. And again, if you ever want to speak, let's have a real conversation.
And there was a lot of monies lost. And she brought that up as well. Her family suffered because of that. That's not fair. It's not right. She goes to do a movie and then the entire trailer blew up. When she said it, I didn't think anything of it. I really did not until I saw the trailer. And the trailer really blew up.
Will be sick.
Anybody want to call me, man?
He is attached to that dog. Oh my God. Can you imagine if we was in that trailer?
It was bad, huh?
Oh my God. I'm trying to see which one is our trailer. God, I cannot imagine. Hair and makeup is this one in front of us. This it has is that Rachel? No.
Yeah, Rachel and Sonia.
Okay, so that's Rachel. That's Gabrielle's.
She talked about the beautiful Taraji P. Henson. And I tell you this, Monique, you've taught me something today that I will keep forever in my back pocket, because it didn't occur to me until it occurred to me. She talked about Taraji P. Henson, that they were handpicked. When you're handpicked, it means that you don't have to audition for the part of which they are literally handing you across the platter and saying, this is yours. It's like the studio heads coming and say, Fumi, come and play Grace Jones. You don't need to audition. You are the girl. We love you. We'll take 6 months, get you to look like her, body-wise, this, that, and the other. But we cannot think of anybody else that could do her biography but you. That is when you are handpicked. Monique now went on to say that somewhere along the line, they had to audition, or somewhere they were told to audition. And the psychosis of being handpicked to being told to audition is where the trajectory of respect now began to diminish. Because I think Taraji did audition, or she went along with it. And hence the disrespect where there were no food, trailers and cars. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the gist that I got of it is this. Fumidesaluvold. If you are handpicked for a film, for a television show, for a photo shoot, for a fashion show, whatever, and then they say, oh, but you know what, you have to audition for A, B, and C. Monique, I tell you this right now and thank you. I'll walk away. You didn't tell me that in the beginning. And you feel that, oh, now you got me because I have to audition. My talent is my talent. My time is my time. My worth is my worth. And one thing I know is non-negotiable. I don't negotiate with my fabulosity. And that can come off as arrogance. But it's also because I know who I am. And I know what I can deliver. And 99.9% of the time, whatever you think I can do it better times 10. That's the kicker for me. I really get pissed off. I really get pissed off when you come back and you start talking about this, that, and the other that was not on the table in our initial conversation. Because I look at you and I feel as if you're trying to take me for a fool. And I now have disrespect for you. And as sweet as the part it might have been, I instantly lose distaste. Because it just, it comes off as fraudulent. It comes off as fraudulent. And I don't know, and I cannot feel my feet on the ground with you. And I never thought about it until Monique said it. So Monique, thank you for that. Thank you for that. You know, this is life. You learn every single day. And I learned something from that interview with Shannon Sharp. All of my love, darlings, don't forget to like, to subscribe. Have a fabulous weekend. Mwah.